All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for My Hero Academia, Season 3, Episode 14. We're back.
We are back.
Yep.
Yes, that week hiatus was tough. But
It was tough.
but we're back.
We are back.
Yes.
And now our characters will be going into the next stage of their journey.
Right.
We'll be
Potentially a new opening.
We will be getting a new opening. I've already heard from the Discord, like, get
cool.
ready for the new opening.
All
yes,
right.
yes. Also, specifically, we will be getting into, like, what does Hero Society, like, have as a kind of a change of pace for things now
Right.
that
With what has
All Might
happened.
has been revealed
Yep.
and also ousted.
Right.
I think that we might not get as much, into kind of a grander kind of conflict for now, but we
Sure.
need to kind of return to form and be reminded this is
Right.
My Hero Academia.
That's
and
true.
what kind of things are our students going to learn or going to be focused on with their training and overall learning.
Yeah. And maybe touch back on Shigaraki to see what he's up to now.
Right, but lightly
light,
touch.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, specifically with our main cast of characters, we had that little bit of a transition, intermission with
It was
the
very nice.
dorms competition. That was fantastic.
And Tsuyu's talk.
Yeah. But we don't need any like dorms being attacked. Like
Right, exactly.
Right now. We need like all right, what does it mean to be a hero? What does it take to be a hero? And it's gonna be awesome. So without further ado, guys, let's get into this.
And before the dorms are attacked.
If the dorms are attacked this episode, I'll give you $20. Like I will literally
No,
just
I know.
give you
There's
$20. It's
no
not
way.
happening. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
That was a fun episode. It wasn't very like plot heavy, but
No.
like that was really good.
They could have made it too similar to the let's come up with names, but instead they made it more along the lines of a combination of what they did in the beginning of this season and had it be about them finding ways to evolve their quirks.
Right.
But specifically along the lines of the branding, marketing side of being a hero and having like your ultimate move. Like All Might has his smashes, you know, and all the other heroes have theirs, but them being, moving towards being pro heroes at some point, or at least having provisional licenses, they need something that additionally helps them be identifiable and stand out from the masses other than just their names and costumes.
Exactly. One of the things that I really liked about how they did this, even though it could be considered just basically a training episode, is that since they all have their quirks, which are very, very different from each other, and it's not, and it wasn't based around increasing their power level, but about finding some creative way to use it, it involved them basically kind of getting introspective and being like, okay, what do I have to work with here? What gifts do I have essentially, and how can I use them more effectively, right? So it was a way that allowed it to be a lot more character focused, and then of course doubly so for Deku because of the whole issue with his arms and not just imitating All Might, right? So that really was great and made it more than just all right, let's train.
Yeah, and another thing that's fun about having things like this happen in a superhero-focused show is that, when I was a kid and stuff like that and thinking up, like, superpowers and things like that, you'd always try to think up some crazy way you could use some specific superpower. It's like, why doesn't this superhero do this type of move? This would be kind of cool. And if My Hero Academia goes the way it is with this here, there's no limit to the kind of creative, funky things that they could do with their powers and stuff. And that kind of creativity shows that it's kind of taking the viewer a little bit more seriously. I'd say it's taking it's kind of treating us a little bit more
complimenting
seriously.
the audience by saying there will be different ways of doing things. And notice, because one of the things that I would be like concerned about if I was in this sort of situation is, as a writer, is how do I make it so that all 20, class 1A students figure out a way to basically develop their quirk and have it be cool and feel different. But for some of them, like, say, Kaminari, they just showed him
and Hantasero, the poor guy. Like, every time I'm reminded about, like, the quirks that everyone has, like, I think some of them I'm like, I get how you know, Sato's quirk has the infinite scaling capacity.
Sure.
That he could constantly get stronger.
Or how Mineta could use his, you know, his purple balls, you know, to great effect if he uses them creatively.
Right. It's a restraining ability, which always is useful in some way. But poor Sero, he's just shooting out tape from his elbows. Like, I would be really impressed if they gave us, within like an episode or two, some quick look at what they all developed as an ultimate move. Like, everyone got one.
Right.
I think that's something they don't have to do.
Right. They did a great job with it this episode of, you know, showing Mineta like creating like the necklace.
A chain link, of the balls.
And then Tokoyami with freaking using Dark Shadow as like armor.
With the very like edgy abyssal body whatever like name. Okay. This is the thing, guys. Edge in like shows and stuff like this being relegated to side characters that take themselves way too seriously is comedy's gold.
Because the thing is that when it's relegated to the main character and they take themselves too seriously, then it can be kind of jarring for the audience because you don't want to take them too seriously, and that can be a bad thing because they're the main mover of the story. But for side characters, since they don't have to be taken so seriously, right? You can have them take themselves seriously, and then it turns it into a bonus because the fact that the audience doesn't take them that seriously is a plus, because then it just becomes funny. And
Tokoyami, like, we get it. He has one of the most busted quirks of them all.
Oh, yeah.
And yet, like, he's like, I'm a brooding teenager. Revelry in the dark. Suppression in progress. Don't come in my room, Mom. I'm busy. You know, like Tokoyami, I love him so much. It's fantastic. Bakugo, though, came up with some legit moves. Like, at the very least, we only saw one. But, like, they were saying he came up with multiple moves.
Because, like, he's already figured out how to basically fly with his quirk, which is... I mean, anytime you are able to fly with your powers, that puts you on a whole nother level, right?
And when you're essentially like you would be considered like a elemental, like battle mage kind of character who's like, oh, are you ranged, Bakugo? You shoot? No. I'm ranged. I'm physical.
Melee.
I'm melee.
I'm aerial
mobile,
support.
Utility.
Like he could just be like flying around and then just be like, and you know, armor piercing shot. Just
it's a pretty good multi-use quirk, and seeing Bakugo evolve at this point in the story, now that we've seen him go through some very subtle changes, is cool, because then we want to see how those subtle changes coincide with his quirk's power increasing.
And I feel like Bakugo is another one of those great characters where he's kind of, now this will take some explaining, but he's kind of a self-insert in the sense that he puts the same amount of thought into his quirk that we would if we suddenly got a quirk.
Oh, totally.
Because in stories like this, right, there's the inherent issue of for a lot of people, this has just become a normal part of life, right? But for us, we're like, oh my gosh, that would be so cool to be in that situation. So if we did end up getting a quirk like Bakugo's, or you know, even if it was one like Mineta's or whatever, we would be like, okay, all right,
thinking about everything.
How are all the different ways I can use this, right?
Oh yeah.
So seeing Bakugo be creative with that and constantly be thinking up stuff, so it's like you get the feeling this is just where he's testing them out. He's already had these ideas for quite a long time,
right?
You know, it's just that's fun to see.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty great. So we had them talk about them getting provisional licenses. That's awesome. Provisional licenses. We get the vibe that those are basically the provision of what they would have before they get actual hero licenses, and it allows them to have more freedom with how they use their quirks during their training to become full-fledged pro heroes. So that's cool. They're on their way to do that. This is kind of the temporary bit of training on their way to probably the actual training. We're going to mention the OP in a second, but the main kind of focus this episode was Deku realizing kind of where he and All Might are at now these days, and kind of using that in combination with his state with his quirk, One for All. That's such a cool thing to say now, his quirk, One for All. Like, I don't think I've said that because it's kind of like he shares that quirk with All Might. But now he doesn't really.
It's just his, Yeah,
it's just his.
Which is pretty crazy.
And
I love so much that they brought up, okay, the whole bit of All Might with the teaching for dummies in his back pocket.
I love that so much. That was
beautiful.
Like as far as like beautiful little moments, that was the best moment, the best little moment probably in the entire episode.
Because Gran Torino has mentioned how All Might isn't the best teacher, and we and we picked up on that, right?
Yes.
And the idea that All Might is realizing that and like working on that, it's like, oh yes. Even
like, Aizawa is like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what did he's like, wait a minute. Like it's funny because Aizawa's eyes, have had issues with the Nomu attack and stuff, and then that's his quirk and stuff, but to see him like squint to like zoom in, his
eyes are always kind of bloodshot because sleep and all that,
but it looks like he was like genuinely struggling to see, like, wait, I see something, but it's so far away and so small, and then he's like, he sees it, and then he can actually read it and stuff from that far away. You're like, oh my god, Aizawa. His eyes are actually amazing.
But yeah, that was great, but the fact that they made it so that they doubled down on the fact that, yes, Deku is working to become the greatest hero. He is not working to become All Might.
Right.
Because he is Deku.
Yes.
That was really good. That's something that I would say it would have really, really sucked if they didn't do that in MHA, because this is, when it comes right down to it, this is a coming-of-age story.
It is.
Like it's a story about heroes and all that stuff, but it's the story about how Deku,
It's the hero's journey.
Yeah.
But I liked how All Might also went to other students and told them some advice that he thought would be really helpful. Because here's another thing that was kind of sad, I think, when All Might came to the training grounds and stuff.
Oh yeah.
He puffed out to kind of be like, "Hey, I'm here, watashi ga kita,"
Yeah.
But he said like, "I'm here basically because I have nothing better to do," and it's kind of like, oh. Like, you realize that, like, All Might's feeling the... I'm not as useful as I used to be, so I have a lot of free time. How do I fill that up?
Right.
He fills that up with trying to improve others and find ways to be a hero.
Exactly.
Even though he's a retired hero.
Because if you think about it, like, granted, over time, he started being able to use his actual hulked out, All Might form less and less.
Yeah.
But... he was probably very pressed for time, like all the time, less once there was that time limit.
Totally.
So this is probably something he's, not just because he doesn't have his quirk anymore, but just the idea of having time where he's like not doing stuff.
Just dead time.
Dead time. He's probably very not used to that.
So he probably made a call to Gran Torino, or maybe because he's a little bit, nervous around Gran Torino, he doesn't want to, let him know.
He just went on.
He goes
Amazon.
on Google and he's like, what do retired pro heroes do? Well, they teach, younger soon-to-be heroes. He's like, how do I do that? And then, how to teach.
One day shipping gets the book.
And he would have the time to read it because he's not, out in the streets protecting people. But
now, okay. We have to mention the really standout thing that happened this episode, which is we got Hatsume Mei.
We got Hatsume Mei back, and guys, she's wonderful. She's wonderful. She's here, and the thing that's really funny is that I do think though that we won't really get that much of her like after this, but I do think it's important that they reminded us that she as a character exists, and more so, the thing that makes her special is not her quirk.
Right, it's her take on life. It's the fact that she's constantly at the workshop place.
She's not afraid of failure. She's not afraid of looking dumb because of other people's whatever. She's going after this 100%. Right, and to mirror that with where the kids are at, it's weird because she's a kid too. But my point is that like to mirror that with where the 1A class is at. A lot of them are thinking of moves that are ways that will make them kind of look better in the eyes of things. I don't know if this show is trying to communicate this, but it kind of did to me, in that Hatsume Mei couldn't care less about ultimate moves.
Right.
Think about that. No, like think about that. Like right now, everyone else is out there doing like ultimate moves and stuff, which is kind of a flashy way to show like, yeah, I'm a really cool pro
and she's
hero.
more of the behind the scenes hero for one, so it makes sense that she wouldn't have that. But even if she were...
oh yeah, she probably has an ultimate move, I'm sure, and it's called sell, like, but I like that for her, what being a pro hero means is working hard and not being limited by old ideas. Basically, like those quotes they brought from Edison and Einstein, you know, those are cool, power loader and stuff. And while those might not translate perfectly every single time, what I think we really get communicated from Hatsume Mei is that she has her own dream. She has her own vision of what she wants to do, and she's doing
everything into that.
And she puts everything into that, and that's essentially her ultimate move.
Following her bliss.
Yes, exactly. And I liked how they used the subtle inferring from all the things to bring up how Deku would realize that he needed to switch gears, essentially, and
pun intended.
Pun totally intended. And start using essentially the lower half of his body, which I'm like, yes, duh, like, it's genius. Like, like on one hand, we saw him when he was like, all right, I'm gonna use my thumb now, because technically he was only able to flick, you know, these four, and he would leave his thumbs usually or something, or it would break
his thumb still,
and his thumb when he would do the flicking, but now he's gone from, you know, trying to wait to utilize his fingers more effectively to be like, oh yeah, I have my whole body. Like,
so what he really needs to do next, now maybe this wouldn't be a good idea, because if he damaged his lungs, that would be really bad. But if he just, you know, pressurized.
I'm serious. That I was about to say that at some point earlier on in the episode. I'm like, why hasn't he like thought about one-for-alling his internal organs?
Just shouting really loud.
Like, no, really, like
shouting really loud solve my problem.
No, I'm just kidding.
but
like, seriously, he could be like, all right, one for all, full cow, and like he actually like gets the
or he just claps.
Well, that's
suddenly
a contact thing on him.
Well, yes. So yeah, it might break his hands, but then he bursts the eardrums of everyone within a mile. Like,
true.
Like,
true. That's pretty good. I was thinking more along the lines of, you know how All Might would just jump? Like, why hasn't Deku been doing
just
that?
Jump, but be jumping like on the person that, you know, you're trying to defeat.
Well, one of the things that All Might did in the Bakugo and Deku fight
was he
punched. He punched in the air just to redirect himself. That's how much strength he has. So he essentially launched himself in the air, and then he like throws himself into the like he threw his back into Deku.
Right.
That was like the worst hit Deku got, I think, in the whole thing as well, because like Deku gets like thrown into a bus and like ragdolled into it, like not ragdoll in the show, but you know, like the you know. Anyway.
But it was great seeing Hatsume Mei again. Now, I realized, okay, there was a part of me that was wondering whether this was something that was anime original at all. Just, you know, as like a way to, hey, bring back popular characters. But then I'm like, no, since they tied it into the plot of like Deku learning, you know, kicking and all that stuff, probably not the case.
Okay.
There was this part that I was like, if they're bringing back people from the tournament that were the side characters from other classes,
Shinso,
then there's a possibility that we'll get Shinso.
Now, here's a way they could do that, is that Shinso is at where they're training to get provisional licenses.
Sure. There we go. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be much, like, you know, you like they don't even have to show him. You just see like this mess of like purpley, like spiky hair, you know, in a crowd.
It would be so easy.
Yeah,
it would be so easy.
Yep,
please do it. I'm with you in that Shinso's character making a comeback means a lot, but I think the reason why he should come back is not to just have him interact with the characters like Hatsume Mei was, but to show his progression, show the ways he's changed.
Right.
In the time that they've not seen him.
Right, because the main reason why Shinso, I feel like, made such a big impact on people was because of the parallels that they made from between him and Deku, right? And that's, you know, so if they can bring him back to do a little bit more of that.
Oh yeah, I'm totally on board with that.
But again, you know, they don't have to, you know. But it would just be really cool.
But we kind of wanted to make it happen.
But having Hatsume Mei come back was amazing.
Yep.
The little bit of Uraraka getting all jealous was was
it's
kind of
further
funny.
it's further affirmation that she does have something for Deku, but it's something that's a little bit nebulous and
it's something where I feel like she could learn maybe a bit from someone like Hatsume Mei of how to be confident and assert herself and not necessarily
throw
think
herself
as much,
on Deku.
No, but to not think as much about the what will other people think if I do this or say this.
Uraraka has had confidence issues in the past, but I think she's slowly getting over those with like training for martial abilities with Gunhead.
Oh yeah.
And then just specifically like through osmosis of hanging around confident people.
Hey, she should offer to teach Deku some martial arts stuff since he has a strength-based quirk.
Oh shoot! They can have some training time together.
Oh yeah. Because if you think about it, because you know how you said in this episode, Deku should just let go of the entire idea of Smash.
Oh yeah, right? I'm totally on board with that. Then become a speed-focused hero.
And then martial arts would be the way to go. I mean, if Uraraka is able to be effective with martial arts without any kind of increased strength, what would Deku be like with knowing how to do like takedowns and pins and stuff like that?
Well, just the power of a kick. Like anytime people are, getting into martial arts and stuff like that, the most powerful multi-purpose thing is just your kick, because it has more range, just definitively than a strike with you.
And your muscles are just bigger.
Yes, just bigger muscles, bigger bones, bigger everything. So a quick strike to the the temple with a kick, they're unconscious or done.
Yeah, that'll kill someone pretty easily
if they're a normal human.
Right.
Case.
Yeah, normal human on normal human. So
Right.
That's the other thing, like that, because that could be a way for Deku to basically avoid doing big bursts of strength that would hurt himself.
Yeah.
Because with grappling and things like that, it's more about being consistently strong, right?
Yeah.
Unless he wanted to actually snap the person in two, which I don't think he would want to do. So that could be a nice workaround there.
For sure. Yeah. And also just him getting to and from locations, him getting overall more mobility there sounds fantastic. Let's talk about the opening. So the opening I liked more than the previous season, like this season's previous opening.
I feel like the music was better.
The
imagery I feel like was maybe just a tad not quite as good, and that's not because the imagery wasn't good, but just because the previous one had such amazing imagery.
Right, I think the previous one's imagery just wins because it had All Might and All for One's.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It had the Shigaraki thing with All for One's hand.
Yep. But they did some amazing stuff in this opening.
But I think the music fit in a lot better.
Yeah.
With it. However, I still think though that it doesn't even come close to my top two.
Oh yeah. What are your top two?
My top two are the third opening and then the first opening.
Gotcha.
Followed probably by the first opening from the second season.
Oh.
And then probably this one.
Gotcha. I'll have to watch it a few more times, but I really liked this one.
Yeah, I did too.
The openings of season 2 were really good, but the thing that I felt like was sometimes lacking compared to the first opening from this season or the first opening from the first season was how they basically used the opening to basically point at the themes of the story and show how much Deku has been growing and all of that good stuff, because that's
yeah, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. That's what makes this show, so head and shoulders above the rest amazing.
Absolutely.
Because it does those things.
Yeah. Guys, My Hero Academia is back.
Yep.
It's back in full swing, and people are coming up with some cool ideas.
Oh yeah.
Their quirks and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty awesome. We'll get into provisional hero license training, officially, probably really soon. The opening also hinted at some new characters coming up.
Yes.
Hinted at what it seemed like to be a whole bunch of people, all in one of those raised environment kind of things that Cementos had set up here.
It almost reminded me of USJ, at some parts.
Sure,
when they were in just the blank areas that weren't elevated, But yeah. I don't know whether that's a stylistic thing or whether they're actually saying like, okay, well the villain Vanguard Action Squad might not be doing stuff right now. We're going to have like other villains that, you know, crop up because All Might's gone.
Sure. You know? I was just saying that, like, I think it would be really cool to have like new characters that come in that evolve the school.
Oh, sure.
Because, like, one of the things that I've, like, just been constantly waiting for them to bring up is just casually thrown in there is that these kids are first years. Mm-hmm. They're in a high school.
Yep.
And there are 3 years in a Japanese high school.
Right.
Why haven't we seen any second years or third years? Are they at a different campus? Are they doing different things? What stage are they at in hero training? What does all that even mean? Maybe we'll actually meet some, you know, soon coming up here. That would be pretty awesome.
If the first years are about to get their provisional license, where are the second and third years at?
Yeah, exactly. Because that's my point.
Because I almost get the feeling that the whole point of UA is that by the time you graduated, you are basically a pro hero.
You are a pro hero.
You know, or like you need to do like one last thing or whatever, right?
It's really young.
Yeah, really young, but you know, that's the whole point of the school is that it prepares people to be pro heroes. So if this is where the first years are at, where are the second and third years at?
Yeah, they're probably way ahead. Way ahead.
Yeah.
But on some level they are talking about like the way that like All Might talks about them saying like, you know, their interactions with villains basically like that has made them like a special year of students.
Sure, yeah, it's like, the idea that live experience means a whole lot more than classroom experience.
Right, and them getting that experience has made them kind of popular.
Sure.
And also given them some like confidence and some maybe just some experience that the other students just haven't had.
Right.
Like maybe they've been enjoying kind of peace times and stuff like that. So maybe like the second and third years are like, oh, things are actually starting to get interesting. But thank goodness, I guess we have the first years to catch all that.
Well, at least
crazy stuff.
Class 1A at least. Class 1B, you know.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Class 1B.
Cue Monoma distant screaming.
I promised someone on the Discord that like the next time we see Monoma, I'm gonna do the best Monoma impression I've got. I've even like watched like specific episodes from season 2 in the dub to make sure that I'm gonna be on point.
Oh, really?
Oh yes. You don't even know. Like I'm waiting. I'm ready. Like I was actually thinking there's a very real like chance we were gonna see him here. Because they were going to do that kind of, you know, training stuff when Cementos started setting things up there. I'm like, oh, maybe. And it's like, no, this is 1A.
Class B is coming in, like, after them. Like, you know.
Right. It's another session. We've got to have room for people to actually go wild with their quirks.
Exactly. And we need to make sure that the pro heroes are able to use their time effectively with the people that are there.
Yeah. Little 1-hour school sessions. But guys, it's a fantastic episode. If you want to check out full-length reactions or our Discord, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. Any kind of support there gets you access to our Discord where you can chat with us after we've watched these episodes and recorded them and be like, yeah, like we're live with the anime. This is so cool. I'm talking about theories and discussion and stuff. And if that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.